Hello, welcome back to JC's Writing Advice. I'm JC Bybee, indie author and part-time YouTuber. I have 8 books published across 3 series. They're available through my website, jcbybee.com. That will be linked in the description along with my Patreon, where you can get deleted scenes from my books and get additional stories that I write. There I have a unique story that I write only for Patreon. And you can help me pay for a not squeaky chair. So today I was struggling to come up with a topic, and my wife, who was very, very nice and very helpful, said, "What's on the top of your mind right now?" Well, for me, right now, what's on the top of my mind are revisions, but also critiques and accepting and dealing with criticism. I have been working on my 10th book, Technomancer, for 3 weeks now, trying to get the final revision done. And we're going to talk about that and what it's like to get, give, accept criticism. All right. So, as some of you may know, or may not know, I am part of the writers group Third Person POV. We do a podcast where we record our chaotic meetings as writers, how we go through the critiques and what we do, what advice we give, and we also go a little bit into the craft of writing itself. But primarily what I want to focus on is the critique side of the group. And each week we try to submit excuse me, we submit selections of our work for our fellow writers to critique and to go over. And this is my critique document file. It has their names next to their suggestions. I'm not going to open up the Technomancer ones because they're deep into the book and there's spoilers, but I will open up my YA series, Lost Souls. So, Gray Alder, this is his critique. So we're going to open up that one first. See what he has to say. Because and I got to turn off my grammar software. Again, we have a specific format that we follow. That way it makes reading and critiquing easier. If you go with an editor, they will probably have a similar, not identical, I can't say it's identical, but they will have a similar format that they want you to follow. Make sure you follow that format because it will make it more likely that the editor works with you. I'm not going to say they're going to reject you outright because I don't know. Again, I'm not an editor yet. But if they say, I want it in this format, submit it in this format. And so we have our format when we submit it. So we scroll down and here's a critique. He's given me a little bit of a suggestion. I can look at this and say, is that what I want to say? Is that how I want to view it? Is that what I want? Is that how I want to word it? Is that going to convey the meaning a little bit better? Yes, no, I move on. Let's see here. So this is actually the second time they've had a chance to read Lost Souls. This was me trying to take in their feedback from the first time, and after doing a lot of studying of other YA series, getting a feel for first chapters, first books, what they're like. So he likes to point out little details. Like I had mentioned that there was a festival going on the first time I wrote. Didn't put any details about what the festival was like. So there was no, as Tyler puts it and Gray puts it, I'm really bad at this. It was a lot of white room syndrome. They couldn't picture what was going on very well because I didn't put in the details that were relevant. Gray likes pointing out passive voice. Fortunately, in this particular style of writing, the Victorian or Regency style, I can get away with using passive voice. And to be honest, listen to how people talk, listen to how people interact with each other. Passive voice is used a lot more than the literary community wants to believe. So it's not as bad as people think to use passive voice, especially if you read like legalese and government speak and stuff like that. Again, pointing out things he finds interesting, which is good for me because it lets me know that what the term I've used, so the 13 distant gods, that's a term I came up for this book. It's sort of in contrast to the Telvanna Mysteries, where the gods are a lot more present, a lot more active, a lot more involved in the world. And the 13 distant gods are called that because they are less active in the world. They're less present. They work through intermediaries a lot more. So that's how I refer to them. So Gray says, interesting. Lets me know, hey, maybe I'm on the right path. Again, questioning my word choice here. We do that to each other. It's life. And here he is talking about the scene again. And this is something that everybody points out. I'm bad at putting in minor conflicts in scenes. I have worked on this. And that's a failing on my part, especially on first drafts where I'm just trying to get the story out. And I don't always put in those little human interactions that, positive or negative, it makes it seem more real, because nobody goes through life without encountering some kind of resistance, from whether it's personality clashes, whether it's beliefs clashing, whether it's simply Sarah's a bit of a know-it-all, and so she has a lot of things she likes to talk about, and that comes back to bite her in the butt occasionally. And I haven't added that yet in this version. In the version I'm going to submit, because I'm probably going to have to submit these 2 chapters again this week, simply for time constraints, but I have done some edits. There is a little bit more conflict here in this scene. And he was right. Things were just a little too easy. He likes, again, Gray points out my awkward phrasing a lot. He's really good at catching that. Let's see here. Not really much else. And then he gives his final thoughts. So that's Gray's. And when I'm working, I will have all of these up and I will be looking at them. So Kim, our resident Regency writer, this is her take on it. And again, I've got this particular bit of feedback, the first line, because this is the line that popped into my head that started this book. Hooks her right away. That's great. So this is one that all 3 of them pointed out, not in their comments necessarily, but verbally, that they kind of want to see a taste of what Sarah goes through. And I'm contemplating what I want to put in this. I don't want it to slow down the narrative too much, feel like I'm adding too much front loading, but at the same time, if all 3 of my critique group partners say, hey, I need to see a little bit more of this, I should listen to that, because they're 3 very different writers with 3 perspectives that I need to look at. And if I have 3 separate perspectives telling me, hey, we need something like this in this section, I need to put it in there, or I figure out how. That way, because, again, 1 person saying it, maybe not. 2 people, start thinking about it. I got 3 people telling me, you definitely need to consider it. You need to see if you can add in that critique. Again, they're not trying to change my work. They're not trying to make it theirs. They're trying to make it the best version of what I have. So Sarah is a very interesting character. She's fun to write, and Kim picks up on her snarkiness a lot. And So yeah, I like the fact that she gives positive and negative feedback. So this is one that, yeah, I'm going to get more into the ratings probably in a few more chapters. It's going to take a little bit of time because I want to get the narrative moving, and the explanation for the mage ratings and the blessings and the numbers and all of that is possibly going to be a little dry, and I'm not solid on how I want to present it yet. But she makes a point that it needs to be clear what this means. One of the things that kind of bothered me about Harry Potter, and some people are going to hate me for reading it, and I don't care. Harry Potter is a fun series to read, but as you study it, and I've been doing that, I've been marking up my copies that you can see back here. There's this ambiguity about the magic system, how it works, that kind of bothers me. They talk about power and wands and everything, and it felt like, and again, I have no idea. It felt like to me that she had lots of ideas about the magic, but couldn't convey them in the way she wanted to, or forgot to convey them, and so it feels a little underdeveloped. But again, it could be the point was magic wasn't the point of the story, which, if I mean, that's a fair argument. But for me, understanding the magic system, again, as my background being the Wheel of Time, where the magic system is fairly clear, not as Sandersonian as Brandon Sanderson's, but there is a clarity to it that I like, and it's lacking in a lot of other fantasy series. And I've heard arguments for and against, but I'm more in the keep it whimsical, but make sure there's concrete rules. So she gives me a little bit of a critique at the end of the chapter, sort of a summary, and then we get going, making forward. And that is one of those things I need to address, because it is important. What happens on that day is important. Let's see here. Again, pointing out something that I did good, something she liked. So she wants this earlier. Tyler says this is probably unnecessary. I'm still debating on it. I think I deleted it, actually, thinking about it. Anyway. That's a good point. I've got to address that. I think I actually no, I didn't forget. I just winged it on those. Anyway. Again, she's pointing out that one. That's funny. Yes. Yeah. So this one is so one of the major conflicts of this series is actually on part of the church. There's various factions. And this will come into play later. And one of the factions literally just is in there for power, because a lot of third or fourth sons of nobility enter the clergy as a way to maintain a stable income. And some of them do it with more or less levels of piety, and so power struggles are bound to crop up. And they do, and this sort of gets brought up later in the book, and it'll be a running theme throughout. And yeah, making sure that it's clear that at the very least, this one priest, Father Joshua, is doing what he is supposed to do and speaking the will of the gods. That does present to me something I need to think about, and I'm glad she pointed it out, is what about those that don't? So that's something I need to address. And that will probably come up later. We'll see. All right, so that was Kim's. Now on to Tyler's. Now, Tyler, his critiques are always interesting because he is a developmental editor. If you need a developmental editor or curious what they do, I encourage you to contact him because he's really good at what he does. He gives good feedback, he gives good critiques, and I don't have him as an editor, I just have him as a writing group partner. But I appreciate what he says. So, yeah. Nothing. Let's see. Did he forget to make? Here's a first comment. That is a good point. No, they don't all have the same birthday, but they all have the same birth month. It's a monthly thing. So I got to make that a little bit more clear. That's a good point. Circlet of Dandelions. I needed to make that a little bit more clear. He's right, because that is part of the ceremony, and I keep forgetting to make it clear. I don't know why. Anyway, the joys of ADHD, I guess. See, here is Tyler pointing out that because of, what did he call it? The narrative format. I don't remember exactly what he said, but not something along those lines. Because I'm doing it more as a narrative memoir for people in Sarah's world, he feels like this is unnecessary. So, and I kind of agree with him. I put it in there sort of to see what they would say. So. Then there's that. Again, he puts positive in there. Not everything's a negative. Sometimes Tyler doesn't have a lot. So again, this was a second draft, and he leaves his final thoughts, which is great. Frame narrative. That's what I think. There it is. Frame narrative. So again, because my frame narrative, it's her memoir to her people, some of the things that I get away with in other books, I can't use as well in this one because of how I've chosen to write it. And he gave me some suggestions, and I'm going to take those suggestions. There's going to be a character that comes in that has a certain set of a certain bit of knowledge, but is lacking in other areas, and she becomes my narrative device to explain things like mana ratings and how the system works and other aspects of the world that she is slightly ignorant of simply because of her unique situation. And we'll get introduced to her in the next 2 chapters. No, chapter after those. Anyway, but this is an example. All 3 of these. Man, I have a cough today. Asthma's getting me. All 3 of these are examples of critiques. And you look at, so Tyler and Kim's right next to each other. There's good, there's bad. You know, you look at first page with Tyler's. Scroll back up here. Whee! Nothing. He's one thing that he points out here. But you look over here at Kim's, and she's got 3 different comments. So the number of comments is irrelevant. What the comments say is important. Like, Tyler didn't feel like he needed to call out any of the things that were on this first page. Kim liked making her comments, and you're going to get that. You're going to get different approaches to how they do it, but you need to make sure that you're looking at every comment, you're taking in every comment, and you're understanding what they are trying to tell you. And the thing about all of this is, it is still your book, and it is still your story. If you look at a comment and think that I don't care about that, I want to keep that in, I like that, then keep it in. It's, again, your book, your story. Your critique partners, yes, are trying to help you. You should try to listen to them. But at the same time, if you have something planned out for the book and it's not going to be 100% clear at first, but you want to drop hints and it's possibly confusing, or you want to keep it that way, keep it that way. You can't take this as an attack on you either. That's one of those big lessons of getting critiques, is these critiques aren't about me. They have nothing to do with me as a person. They have nothing to do with me as a writer. They are all about the story and whether or not what I have put on the page flows, makes sense, draws the reader in, is clear, and as I'm doing that, I need to make sure that I'm being consistent. And as I work through, as I, revise and give them these chapters again, they'll either have fewer comments, have different comments, and it's up to me to learn from what they're telling me. And that's the whole point of a critique group, is you need to understand that the positive and the negative comments work together to help you become a better writer. And I struggled with this earlier this week. I hit a section of Technomancer where Tyler made some comments that it became a little overwhelming, mainly because of the stress. It has nothing to do with Tyler. It has nothing to do with what he said. But there were a lot of critiques on this particular section that he put in there, less positive and more negative, and that's going to happen. But it affected me. It made it hard for me to work through those sections. And I had to take a moment and take a step back. Fortunately, I'm a dad, so I had to go get my boys and bring them home and help them with homework. So I had about a 2.5 hour span where I wasn't working. I wasn't looking at what was on the screen. I was just working with my boys to help them. And when I came back to it after they were eating dinner and in bed, I was able to approach it with my mind more open and able to accept that, yeah, a lot of what he was saying was right. And I was able to fix it. And it's made Technomancer quite a bit better of a book as a result. So, yeah, getting critiqued is hard. And it can hurt sometimes, because this is something you put a lot of time and effort into. But without the critiques, without the feedback, it's not going to be as good. So when you get the chance to be in a critique group, if you get that chance, make sure that you understand the rules. First off, make sure the rules are clear. We have very clear rules in our critique groups. Number 2, understand that the critiques aren't of you, or they shouldn't be of you. They are of your work and what is on the page, and that they are trying to, or should be trying to, help your writing be better. They'll help you catch your little quirks of writing, which I have several. So keep this in mind as you write, as you work, as you try to find critique groups and people to work with. Trippy multi-scene there we go. So, thanks for stopping by today and listening. Thanks for supporting me in my efforts to teach people about writing, to help other people become the best writers they can be. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe, pass the word along. If you didn't like the video, go ahead and leave a dislike. It all helps. And remember, jcbybee.com. You can get my books. Patreon, you can help me pay for a better chair, please. All joking aside, appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you listening to me and helping support what I do. And I will see you in the next one.